ahead and do just a cut anywhere on this one, because this was pretty scrawny and old and unproductive. When I cut into here, I see that this is diseased again. This rose has a lot of problems. So this is diseased inside here. Normally this would look all yellowish white and clear all the way through. So I've made a pruning cut here, and I'm going to prune farther down. But first I'm going to spray my pruner with alcohol. And flip it over so that I don't spread whatever that disease might be farther down into here. So, well, that's looking better. I was hoping to get new growth from this node right here, but I'm going to spray my pruner again. I'm just going to do a heading cut right here. Now, I just don't think this is going to get to a clean point, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this off and not worry about it. It's better though. Do you see the difference there? You see the difference? It's at least a little bit better, but it should look a lot healthier than that. So I'm going to move over to the other section and prune some more. Now I'm going to do the cuts to pruning to an outside bud. So I'm going to be shortening my stems, and here's the bud, and I'm pruning right above it, leaving about 1/4 inch, and the angle is going away from the bud. With this one, here's one back here. I'm going to prune right here, because on the back side, I'm pruning to an outside bud. There's a little bud there, and it'll come this way. And this one's going to come this way, the new growth. On this one, now sometimes you don't see a node where you want it, so you can just prune anywhere, and you can come back later and clean it up when the new growth starts. Here's an example though. I just cut into this, and this is borer damage. You see that right there? Insects are getting in there. So I am going to prune down a little farther. Oh, much better. You see the difference? That's healthy wood, and that is not healthy wood. So you can prune down into healthy wood. This one too doesn't really have a node in the direction I want, but I want to keep this because I'm trying to get the most blooms out of what's left here. Same on this one. Here I'm going to cut, leaving that 1/4 inch and the angle. And as I move around, I'm also looking for crossing branches, and I'm going to decide which one to keep. So here, this is all cleared up, but over here, see this? These are crossing branches, and as they get bigger, they're going to rub on each other and cause problems. So I'm going to follow, see this one? I'm going to follow it right down. We're lucky. We have a bud that's going to come this way. So I'm going to prune above that. A bit closer. And then I don't want this one going through the entire center of the bush, so I am going to flip my pruners over so I can get a clean cut and just remove that, because we want good air circulation. And you'll be surprised at how much growth. This rose is going to look pretty naked when we're done, but you'll be surprised the growth this puts on for this spring. By observing what old cuts stimulated in your rose, and any plant really, you can tell what your pruning cuts will stimulate. So let's look at this branch here. All the way down here. Here was an old pruning cut, right here. Right here. And it stimulated this, and it bloomed right here. When the bloom was done, it was cut, and then it stimulated this growth. And then another cut, and it stimulated this growth. And then that was cut, and it stimulated this growth. So I don't want to keep, this is not the most beautiful right here. So I'm not going to keep all of this. I'm going to prune to an outward facing bud. And I don't have one coming this way, but I have this one coming this way. And I'm going to prune right above that. There. Now this is going to stimulate growth from this bud, and it's going to probably come up like this. Much better. Ideally, you wouldn't allow two stems to grow so close to each other. When these were juvenile growth, they looked like this. They had growth right, it would be like having this one and this one next to each other. And you would come along and decide which one you were going to keep. And then it's called finger pruning, and you would just finger prune out the one you didn't want. And let's pretend this one was right next to it. You would leave the one you wanted. So in this case, I would have, when these were juvenile, I would have finger pruned out this one, this stem, and allowed this one to grow and get the most energy. Sometimes there's 3 buds, and you need to decide which one's staying and which 2 are going. And that'll be later in the season. We'll show you finger pruning. We've finished pruning this rose for the dormant season. Normally you would go for good balance and symmetry in your pruning. On this rose, there's so much disease and problems going on with it from being drought stressed that I'm going to leave this one a little taller. So it's a little asymmetrical, but that's okay, because when this blooms, this part of the garden has room for this to be taller, and I'm okay with that.